Hey everybody, welcome to another live episode of The Grid. We have a very special episode, not because Matt Kluskowski's back,
I am.
but because we are very excited to have with us in the studio one of our favorite guests ever, Miss Lindsay Adler.
Thank you, guys.
Fantastic, amazing fashion photographer. Your last book did great. We have her brand new book here that we're giving away today.
Yep.
You're gonna sign it and everything?
Absolutely.
All right, so we have Lindsay's book, but it is our Blind Critique Day. We're very excited to have Lindsay here because we asked people to turn in images today for our blind critiques of fashion, and that can include anything from your fashion work with models, anything along those lines. So we'll be having her critique those, and we're going to do that in just a few minutes.
It's all on you, by the way.
It's all on you.
All you.
You,
Not us, it's you.
Not us. We're
Yeah, but-
here just to facilitate.
Just to watch.
I've seen how mean you are, so I will look fine.
Hey, I do want to tell you a couple of things. First off, we have some giveaways. I'm also going to be giving away my brand new book, which I don't have a copy of it here because it's not off press, but I have a book called Photoshop for Lightroom Users. Right? Brand new. It's so new I don't even have a copy, but it's coming out, they say, next week. And it is a whole book that's like, you know, you're working in Lightroom and all of a sudden you get to this part where you go, oh, I want to blend two images together. No, you don't. I want to do a pano. Nope. How about HDR? Nope. Photoshop does all that stuff. So I wrote a book, it's a short book, but it's just about the stuff you need to know in Photoshop because Lightroom does so much. Also, we have the amazing book from Frank Doerhoff, Frank's book. This book, you know how many copies of Frank's book I've signed in the last people bring
Really?
me? Frank, dude, they were selling this. I was in Canada this week, yesterday actually. I signed a bunch of these. They're selling. Everybody's buying this book. This book is like 5-star rated. Everybody loves it. It's like Frank killed it on it. So we have all of that stuff today.
Go Franco.
We got a couple more books. We've got
Critiques?
Critiqued, which is very, very interesting. It's. I looked at this the other day. They take you on. It's for this is a design book, but I know we have designers that watch as well. It's really interesting and
Creative 52.
That's
But
Lindsay's
Miss
book.
Lindsay.
Yeah.
So this is basically 52 projects, one project a week.
Yep, exactly.
Now, can you do more than one project a week if you want?
no, you cannot.
Or will the book blow up?
It's timed.
I would do 100 if I could. I actually wanted to do a 52-week project next year, and I got to see if I did it last year. It is a challenge. It is definitely not easy, but at the end, you look at your work, and I mean, you improve. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You become a better photographer. So
Cool.
Well, because you have a plan. Because I think a lot of people, they'll do those 52-week projects. They just walk out their own door and they come back.
Well,
and
the
they're
photo
Yeah,
a day
I know.
projects, the 350.
Those- oh,
I
Those are
don't think they would
brutal.
help anyone, honestly.
Thank you.
Why?
But,
Well,
but that's,
we talk about
that's
that
what I
all the
like about
time.
this. Is you said it. That's a plan.
That makes you better.
Right. Well, because you have a week to plan and think about it versus like, oh crap, I didn't shoot anything today. My shoe. You know, people really put effort into it. So that, I mean, my portfolio improved in a year. I replaced almost every photo in my entire portfolio. So
Cool.
There you go. Quote of the week from Lindsay, L.A.
I replaced every photo.
Hey, so I want to tell you a real quick story to start the show because it has nothing to do with photography. Well, it has this much to do with photography. I went to Canada this week to teach my seminar in Toronto. Sold out weeks in advance, 530 people.
wow.
The nicest people
Wow.
are in Toronto. I mean, they're just, Canadian people are wonderful. With the exception, with the notable exception of the Canadian customs. I come into town. Now, you have to realize I'm there legally. If you are a speaker, a presenter, a trainer, instructor, a teacher, you have a special exemption in the official Canadian government foreign workers manual. You are allowed to come in and teach Canadians. You're not really stealing a Canadian job, you're helping Canadians. We go through customs. Brad and I go together. Brad says he's here for a photo seminar. I say I'm here for a photography seminar. They let Brad in. They sent me to a different room.
Same person?
Nope. Two different customs agents sitting right
Okay.
beside each other. I was there until 3 in the morning. They were going to hold me in a cell because they said that I shouldn't be there because there are people in Canada that can teach photography as well. So that I don't have a unique skill to bring to Canada. And I don't have this special form that you have to prove that you have a unique skill. And I was very nice and I was very calm through all this. I'm very tired through all this because I'm there for hours upon end.
Oh my gosh.
And so they finally said, well, look, we're not going to hold you in a cell. You're only going to get 2 hours sleep, but you can go to your hotel, which is about 40 minutes away, get a shower, maybe catch a nap for an hour, but you need to be back here for us to deport you. Or you have to have this form. The form that I needed, I happened to write down, which is a form, by the way, that I'm exempt from. So I never should have been asked for this form anyway. It is called, here, let me just open it on my phone. I wrote it down so I could make sure. And now you got to realize, before I ever left there, and this is why I knew we were legal, we hired a lawyer to look into this, a international labor, works with Canada
Custom
all the
rep,
time.
yeah.
And we'd done tons of research. We had all this documentation. The name of the thing was the labor market opinion. The labor market opinion says that they've reviewed what I do and that it's unique and that nobody in Canada can do it, so I'm allowed to come in. But I didn't need this form because I'm a trainer doing a commercial thing. And if you actually read the Canadian, I wanted to bring the quote, maybe I can get it on one of the breaks. I wanted to actually show what the quote is, because it says, this person that's exempt is coming to Canada, will most likely be teaching in a convention center or hotel, will charge a fee, and it said these exact words, and will leave Canada. This person's exempt. Anyway, I could not convince them that I was that person. They went to my website, they went to the seminar tour site, everywhere. So I go back in the morning, and I'm going to try to convince them now. It's the morning of my seminar. Trying to convince them. I get there in the morning, woman comes out, let me see your paperwork. Okay. And I said, okay, so here's the thing. I just want to go over this with you. So I take her website, and I show, see where it says I'm exempt? And she says, we're not here to re-review your case. You've already been turned down by an examiner. She's very qualified. She's been here many years. She already determined you're not exempt. So we're just here to send you home. We've already arranged your airfare. We contacted Delta and we changed your flights.
Oh, no.
And I said, I've got 530 people coming from all over Canada to this event. She's like, no, you don't. You can wait in this room if you want, or you can wait till tonight if you want, till the woman that classified you as a bad American. And so anyways, we went back and forth, me showing her. I would show her website. She goes, well, you just got that off our website.
Yes.
Yes, I did.
Oh my
I got that off your Canadian website. I want to hit myself in the head with a frying pan. But when she says, I'm not going to relook at your case, I'm not considering this, I'm just here to send you home, I didn't know what to say. I mean, I'm sitting there because I think she's going to go, oh, there's the law. Oh, you're exempt. Of course, you're a trainer.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're coming for what it says here, a seminar at the convention center that you're charging for, and then you're leaving Canada. It's like it's 3 sentences. I had it highlighted on my computer. And I went, and I actually they sent me in the morning, our attorney sent me the actual entire 109-page document. That is their entire law, and I was trying to show it to her. She did not want to see it. What I eventually got her with, I said, look, go to Twitter, and you will see tweets from people that say, just got on the train, I'll be there in 3 hours, looking forward to meeting you. I said, you're going to punish 1 American and 530 Canadians when you admit that I'm here legally. It says it right here on your website. 30 minutes before my seminar, which is 40 minutes away, she says, she walks to the back room, I hear her arguing, she comes out and hands me back my passport and says, I'm going to give you a 1-day extension. I jumped in a cab. I actually got there. I got lucky with the traffic, got there, walked in, saw Brad. We went through this little coffee line, and I went right on stage.
Oh my
Man,
gosh.
that was close. But I'm telling you, I got 1 hour and 45 minutes sleep. I was like, I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
it was, anyway.
And so, you know what's interesting about that is you would have, had there been a flight out that night before, it'd have been no questions asked. You'd have been home.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like,
I
because you
there
just
too
got in late
yeah.
enough that there wasn't a flight back.
Oh, yeah, they'd have put me right on a flight immediately
if there was a
back
flight
home.
available, you'd have already been back home. You'd have never been there the next day.
So obviously the woman the night before classified me wrongly. And then I guess the rule at Canadian Customs is if somebody makes a mistake, we all just cover for her. We don't reevaluate it. We don't say, yeah, oh, you're, because this is what I expected how to go in the morning. I would go, by the way, I have your rule. See, it says instructor. Look, you can see, it's on the web, it's everywhere. I am at the convention center. This is my name. It's $99, blah, blah, blah. And they would go, oh, this is a crazy mistake. We're so sorry. Do you think when she finally gave me my thing back, she said, I'm so sorry?
Yeah.
She gave me a long lecture of how I should have had the actual contract for the convention center with me. Now, I don't know how many speakers actually travel. Well, you're a speaker. You speak all over the world.
Right.
Do you usually travel with the contract at the convention center with you?
I don't carry the contracts, but I had the same experience. I actually was driving into Canada, and I had something signed by an agent representing that said, I didn't have to pay customs on the gear that we were carrying with us. And when we got there, they said, well, we got to check the back of the vehicle. No, you're gonna have to pay customs, and it was going to be like $15,000 or $20,000 on that. So it would have been pointless to enter, but they didn't have a problem with us legally. We were allowed to. They just wanted to charge. So I had to wait. I waited like 4 hours until just a different agent got on shift, and then they're like, "Oh, sure," and then sign it. So I don't know.
Like me and Brad. Brad, go ahead. Scott, no. So Canada, I don't know what it is. I love Canadian people.
I love that.
Seriously, the Canadian
taught at
people
Toronto
are
last year.
so friendly and nice. I had people that went to your Toronto thing. They were telling me how great your day was.
It was one of my best cinemas. I
had
loved
people
that.
coming
Was
up
awesome.
and going. And then I went to Henry's Camera Store the next day. I did just a free talk, just meet. Everybody is so wonderful up there. It is such a great country, but you have to get in to get to the wonderful. Now you got to realize, I've been to China numerous times. I've been to Cuba. I've been to communist countries. You know how hard it is to get in? They go, stamp, thank you. That's it. When I come back from communist countries, the U.S. goes, thanks. But you go to Canada, it's like, dun, 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 not Canada. Anyway, so.
And I got, I got grilled last year too.
Did you get grilled?
Because I had camera gear, and he's like, well, what's in the bag? I'm like, camera gear. He's like, what's that camera gear for? I'm like, just in case I want to go out and take pictures. Do you make money with those pictures? I'm like, no, Toronto's got a cool downtown. I just want to take a picture. He's like, you're selling that picture online? I'm like, no. But I mean, question after question, trying to get me to say, yes, I'm selling these pictures.
Yeah, he did that one time when I went to Banff. The guy was doing that. You know what he kept saying? He'd go, so what do you do for a living? I said, I write books. Oh, I write books on photography. Oh, that's great. And you take any pictures while you're here? I go, well, yeah. And he goes, so it's kind of a, it's you're on vacation, but it's kind of a work thing. It's a little bit work, a little bit vacation. No, I'm just here on vacation. But you're going to use some of these in your work. I mean, it's a work thing. He keeps going on. But if it was a work thing, you'd still be exempt. So anyway, I don't know. But anyway, I'm so glad for everybody that came out to my Toronto date. The crowd made up for it. They were so great. I told the crowd, I said, look, I usually feel like it's my job to keep the crowd awake. Mm-hmm. I said, today, it is your job to keep me awake. But it was great. We had a wonderful time. All right. Here's what's coming up. Blind photo critiques. Lindsay's here. We're very excited. We're going to have a great show today. Tell your friends. And if you know anybody in the immigration department in Canada, tell them I love them too. But I have the name of the two people I dealt with. I don't love them. Anyway, we will see you right after this break. Don't go away. Hey, they don't see my computer either.
Fashion, lighting. I'm obsessed with red. Red is arresting, it's eye-catching. People can go anywhere for beautiful headshots, nice portraits. But what I like to do is give them something a little more. Have a concept. I like to tell a story. As a professional portrait and fashion photographer, I like to take the elements of fashion photography and apply them to my portrait and wedding work. We'll cover locations, props, hair and makeup, just a lot of different elements that you can apply to your work and really stand out from the crowd. Fashion Flair is not ordinary, it's exciting. So come watch my class, Fashion Flair, at kelbytraining.com.
That. Hey, we are back. It's an exciting day on the grid. We got Lindsay Adler. I wore my Intuos t-shirt.
I wore my not Intuos t-shirt.
Oh man, you should always wear it. We wear them every day. Hey, so for those of you who are new to our blind photo critique thing, we have just a basic rule. And our basic rule is
crush dreams, which is what Lindsay came up with that.
Oh, please.
Yeah, she said, these are her words. My job is to crush people's dreams and talk them out of joining this industry.
Okay, they're totally lying.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Brad's words. I'm sorry. She's right. That was Brad's words. Okay, so this is the thing that we do with our critiques. We try to make them helpful. We're trying to make everybody that sends in their work better. But our caveat is we tell the truth. Because honestly, your coworkers aren't going to tell you, look, you're not good at this. You need to sell your stuff. They won't do it. Your spouse isn't going to go,
You're so
you know
mean.
what? You just don't have it. sell your gear. No one's gonna, and we're not going to tell you sell your gear either, because the people that send in that are so bad that say sell their gear, we don't even show them. And there's a lot we don't get to show. So what we're showing is ones that we hope that we can help, but we're all going to be truthful. We're going to say what we really think and try to really help you, because since nobody else will tell you, your coworkers, your spouses, your friends, we are the 3 people in the world that will tell you. And if you're unhappy with it, just know right now it's mostly Lindsay. Okay, so let's start off with our first person. Blind photo critiques means we don't mention the person's name that sent them in. In fact, we probably don't know the person's name that sent them in. So we're gonna look through the images. Now, Lindsay, how do you like to do it? Do you like to see like all 3 or 4 images and then we go back one by one, or you just kind of want to go through them one by one, or how do you like it?
One by one's fine.
Here we go. So let's start off with the first one. And here we go. So thoughts, comments?
All right, so what I would say is that what I'm getting from this is they were going for like Ice Queen, right? Kind of frigid and cool. And so I want that entire picture to communicate that to me. So I would think that you would want to emphasize white on white on white and really, really cool. So the places that my eye goes that detracts from the photograph would actually be the lips, because my eyes go there right away, and I'm going for like icy cool. It is so strong. I don't mind the blue even kind of softly around the face. You know, that's okay, but the lips are so strong. And then also the hair, because if I'm going for really high key and clean, I mean, the hair has a lot of visual weight to it. So if I personally were shooting this, I would pull back the hair tight, or make it so it's kind of decided what it is. Is it smooth? Is it curly? I'd go with a high key background. I'd go with white.
White, solid white.
Yep. And then I would probably do like a white lip or a nude lip. So it's just pure and white and high key. Because right now it's a picture about lips to me, when I'm pretty sure that's not exactly what they're trying to do.
Dang, that was good. Man,
Really?
freaking right on it.
I'm looking at it, I'm like, I have no idea what to say.
Really?
But,
Wow.
But
Well-
you, like, everything you said, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I thought the blue lips were distracting, but I didn't think about it until what you said. The white or the nude would be perfect. But the first thing I thought was the background.
Yeah.
I thought the gray background. But your critique of that was dead on the money. Now, what was I going to say about this? Now, this is not a setup. I swear to you, this is not, because you didn't know this was coming. But I saw in your book, you have a porcelain skin
Yes.
technique. It
Okay.
happened to be the one page. I flipped it open and I went, hey.
I can tell you exactly what I would do to this picture, like how I would have shot it. Doesn't mean that,
Okay.
I mean, as an artist, you don't need to shoot it like me. I'm just telling you kind of how my brain would have worked. I actually probably would have put a softbox behind her head facing towards the camera.
Yeah.
Because it whites it out, and then you get a little bit of wrap, but hair tight back. So what you see is her neck and then also her jawline. It's super, super high key. And then, like you saw in the book, I would make the skin porcelain white. So it is high key, light, really soft. It is all about the Snow Queen.
Let me see if I can do
basically.
this. The great thing about doing these in the bridge is I can pop open camera raw.
Yep.
So there's a technique, and I don't know if this is in your book or not, but if you go to the HSL, if you take the oranges down, and then you take the luminance of the oranges
Exactly.
up, it will usually turn the skin pretty white. Now, we'd have to tweak this a bit to get it to pure white. But even a whiter background would be better. We're getting close. And of course the lips are still blue and stuff. And this we're over exaggerating it because I'm trying to make it into something that's not. But let's make that background pretty much white. And it would give that more of the Ice Queen kind of look that you're talking about. I mean, this is not a wonderful editing job I'm doing here, but
And one thing that I do want to say that I liked is that it is clear to me right away what the idea is.
Yeah, the idea was Ice Queen.
Because a lot of times I look at fashion photos, and you got to know what the photo is about. Like, what are you trying to say? Is it about the color? Is it about the lips? And a lot of photos is just kind of a girl sitting there. I want to feel something. I want drama. So I know what I feel or what it's going for.
You're good.
Okay.
Okay, here's another shot from the same photographer.
So I look at this and I don't quite know what this one is about. That's the difference between the two. I'm feeling like maybe I'm going to use my fashion terms, but maybe you're going for kind of like a boho chic look. It's basically hippie-ish. And that's kind of what I'm getting from the styling. But the environment doesn't say hippie to me. And the lighting doesn't add to the photo. So I just thought the other one was stronger for sure.
And we And it goes very quiet.
No, I mean, so I like the movement. Usually I hate elbows up. It's not, because what happens is when someone puts their elbow up, whatever's closest to the camera looks largest. So it looks like typically they have a large elbow and no arm. Here it's actually not too bad. What I have more of an issue with is I hate armpits.
I was just gonna, Lindsay, I was grabbing the cursor to point at the armpit.
Can't deal with armpits. So you can lighten that in Photoshop. I would use the clone stamp on lighten. I still usually in my photos try to avoid having armpits anyway, but you could lighten that up in Photoshop for sure.
So you would go to the rubber stamp tool, go to lighten at 100%? 50?
So yeah, 50, 60.
50?
Yeah.
20.
20.
Someplace between 40 and 60.
We're gonna get rid of that. Oh, I think, am I using a hard brush? No, it's not a good brush. All right, so something to get rid of all that.
Yeah, I would just lighten it up.
Stuff in there.
Because your eyes in a photograph go to a lot of different things. It goes to the brightest area of the photo. Okay, well, it's the background, but you're still looking at her because the color goes to the most saturated. So my eye does keep getting drawn to her chest, but it's not terrible. That doesn't bother me that much. But it also goes to areas of contrast. And so I see that shadow against the
Yeah.
light skin.
Yeah.
So that's where I look.
Good.
Plus,
Very
I
good.
hate armpits
Yeah,
and
I know.
feet.
Pits.
I'm with you.
Armpits
feet.
and feet.
Feet, yeah. Sometimes the back of the hands can be bad too.
And sometimes ears. I have all these things.
And sometimes, noses or, tip, lip,
Or like
teeth,
face.
lips,
No, just kidding.
tips. That's the difference between lips and teeth. Okay. All right, feedback from multiple people. Lindsay is awesome. Can she be a regular on the Critique Show? If we can get her to move to Florida, absolutely.
Yes.
No, but these
Come
are
on, Tampa's
these are
nice.
wonderful
I'll come
insights.
visit.
These are the real deal. These are wonderful. Thank you. All right, here we go.
I have like medium bad eyesight. Something over here.
I'm trying to
That's okay.
we'll zoom in crazy large. I actually like it better large than I did when it was the full image, but
Yeah, I would say. So the reason that you shoot a wider photograph is you would be setting the mood, going for the environment. But it doesn't look necessarily like she makes sense in that environment. I don't exactly know the whole story, but what I would say too is maybe a little bit even lower of an angle. If you're gonna go for like seeing the sky and the trees, it looks like it's with a wide angle lens, like almost slightly down, the way it's warping.
oh yeah.
It's like a slightly off angle to me, and I just recommended the person just check this out because since you're clearly trying to play with color, I know there's a million different presets and there's a million different actions, but also if you've never heard of color lookup tables in Photoshop, try those out. It's basically from video. Like usually when they shoot film, it's actually like totally flat, no contrast, no color, and then they add that in post. And so color lookup tables give you a whole bunch of different things to choose from that set the mood. So if you like changing the color, you might want to flip through some of these.
Gold crimson, gray tone.
And maybe they did in that one.
I'm not quite sure they can see what you're doing because there's I don't know if that's just.
Oh yeah.
Is that little thing on the bottom?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So that's what pops up.
So this is, maybe I can make this a little bigger. It is an adjustment layer. So you go under the adjustment layer pop-up menu, and then here, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. So it's these right here. There's all these different ones that you can choose. They're pre-made. You just have to choose them. And they have different, don't try to load any of these lookup tables because Photoshop doesn't come with any. So since it doesn't come with any at all, let's make that the default. Okay, that's a whole nother story. But anyway. But yeah, they have all these different, fashion-y type Tony stuff.
Yeah, I might. I don't
I'm
know
just
if I don't.
picking
And I don't. I was
random
gonna say I
ones.
don't know if color even does anything at all for this photograph because there's no color in it. So I might actually do a toned black and white or something.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Good comment about the person not making sense in their environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was one of the best comments of the whole thing is that they just if you're going to include the environment, make the person make
Yeah.
sense there.
And that's something that I say is a difference between a portrait image often and a fashion image. A lot of times in a portrait, if you want a pretty girl in a pretty dress in a forest and that makes them happy, go for it. If that's what they want to look like and they want to be in a frilly dress. But in fashion, you usually either want it to not make sense on purpose, so you're like, oh, wow, this is, look at this
A
juxtaposition.
yeah.
Or it makes perfect sense.
All right, before we say anything about this one, I'm just going to make a little adjustment, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, that was what I was going to say, so we're good.
Oop, wrong
Whoa.
tool. Wrong tool. Whoa. Sorry.
Remember what I was saying I don't like?
Ears. Yeah.
Ears, armpits, feet.
Yeah, ears, armpits, feet, the big three. And then watch. Spock.
Oh.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, we'll go
Elf.
back to the
And,
original. Elf. Elfin.
So something that I like in this photograph is often when people do the shoulder up look, sometimes it gets rid of the neck, which it certainly does, but because you can see the neckline on the left-hand side and how defined kind of those tendons are, it doesn't bother me anymore. And I do
That's
this a
a
lot in
lovely
my own
tendon.
work.
That's a lovely tendon.
Yeah, so that's definitely good.
There's a sentence you don't hear every day.
I say to models all the time, oh my God, I love your clavicles.
Really?
Yeah, clavicles are gorgeous for beauty shots when they pop out.
Oh, I just didn't know they were called clavicles. I thought that was naughty. Sorry.
You didn't. You're a liar.
No, I don't know. How would I know what a clavicle is? I'm a photographer. Okay. I'm impressed that you know, though.
And I would liquefy a couple other things. I would smooth out the shape of her back a little bit.
Yeah.
That it looks kind of hump-ish.
Right there and this right here.
And yeah, and if it were my beauty image too, I might even lower that back shoulder just a little bit more.
It keeps showing up with the wrong tool
Yeah, that's
here.
weird.
Sorry.
Yeah, I
So we're
would
gonna pull
smooth
this
it
in
out.
a bit. And also, if you look right in here, there's an adjustment needs to be made here. It's
Oh,
like
I
a
see
hole
the
or something.
clone. I see.
And we're gonna pull this back a little bit
I
to
think that's
fill
a
in
messed
that.
up clone or something.
It could be a messed up clone, but it's funky looking back there.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's a messed up clone. All right. So stuff like that would fix the ear for sure. And anything else that you do liquefying wise?
I might lower that just a bit, but honestly, it's not severe. And so other than that, with the photograph, just as a general rule of thumb, I would just recommend for anyone getting into fashion or trying to shoot, typically, I choose what's going to be intense in the photograph. Like I either go intense eyes, or intense lips, or intense hair. So my eyes do keep going to her lips, and the green does balance it out, but in general, don't do like bright colored eyes and bright colored lips because it starts to look clownish. This one's okay. Like this one doesn't go that direction for me. I would just advise that in general. One of the most common things I see people do is use huge, bright colored feather eyelashes. Everyone knows who does this. I'm talking to you. Usually it comes across as amateurish, so just be careful. That starts to look kind of clowny, so just watch out for that.
All right. Hey, I went in here. Now, don't look on that screen. That screen's overly
Sure.
saturated. But I pulled back the reds here. I went just to her lips with the targeted adjustment tool and just pulled a little bit of the red out. So it would normally, there's the original red, and I just pulled a little bit of the red out there.
Yeah, I think it looks
You'd
a
have
little
to
more
mask
subtle.
it and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, great. So that's our first caller. Now, we spent a little bit more time on that person than we will be able to spend on everybody else, or
right.
we'll be here all day. But let's just take a quick look. You know what I'm going to do just
Flip through,
so we
that's
get to, I'll flip through them real
Absolutely.
quick, and if you see one that you want to critique within here,
Oh, jeez, this is difficult. Do it one more time.
something funky's happening with the lighting here.
Well, okay, so what I noticed and what I would say is it's somewhat of a Photoshop thing, somewhat of an in-camera thing. So the angle of the light is so high to carve out her cheekbones. I totally get that. It defined her jawline and her cheekbones there. But because the light is so high, it's really close as well. So she gets a bright hot spot on her forehead. That's where I keep looking, is her forehead and
Yeah.
nose.
Right.
And then her body gets really dark. And because it's dark, it's more saturated. So I see darker skin, more saturated down the body, and then that bright highlight there. So I would use in the studio, I would probably use a flag, which is basically just putting something in between your light and the subject. And I do it right so it just puts a little bit of shadow on their forehead. Or you can darken it down just a bit in post as well.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. That's tough though. Sometimes when you get a big highlight like that, because if you pull back the highlights like in Photoshop, it tends to kind of turn.
Textures too.
Yeah, grayish, and it's kind of funky. Hey, Brad says it's Breaky McBreakerson time. This is time to take a break.
Can we go through a couple, like finish this person out
Yeah,
there?
yeah. Let's
Is
finish
there any
them
more
out.
you want to?
Yeah, since we've only done one person here.
This one might be a little bit over softened. It looked a little bit blurry. I
Yeah.
like that it's porcelain skin. I mean, that's kind of my thing, but I think if you use a plugin like Portraiture, which I think they might have, make sure you have the slider on the bottom left-hand side of that plugin turned off on softness, because I think a lot of people leave that on. And then the blue gel one, We saw it a second ago. Where was that? There.
Oh, that one.
Oh, it looks totally different. That I think is really, really cool and funky. I think the necklace distracts for me because this is more about color. And I probably would have put her even a little bit more in a profile because the way her nose is angled, I don't really see it. Right. So I probably would have turned her a little bit profile. But like, it's cool and different. I haven't seen anything.
So if you had
like
some advice for this photographer overall, besides lowering the softness and well, what would you say overall? What could you say to this photographer they need to, what they can work on?
So, well, what you just said, I do see a little bit of over retouching in several of the images.
Yeah, this one.
I saw it in that one for sure.
And you know what else too? It seems like they're spending so much time on the eyes that it's making the other stuff really look overdone. Because every eye is like super bright. Like the eye, her eyes here look like they're 100% white in the eyes, and each eye looks really over retouched, and so it makes everything else around it. When you go super sharp eyes and then super sharp.
And then everything else looks a little softer.
Soft. It looks really. It's just a little bit much on it. And I'm big on making the eyes look great, but.
Cool.
All right. So overall, you would say, here's what you need to do next. Just overall, what would they work on?
Well, okay. If I'm going for the professional photography realm, I do think that the style's a bit all over the place. If you want like kind of career critique, I'd kind of pick what your thing is. Of course, having stronger models always helps, and the pictures that I tend to like more do have your stronger models. So other than that, I would say don't over retouch, and definitely if you find a model that you love and that works great for you, don't be afraid to shoot this person repeatedly over and over again.
Yeah, just different.
Yeah, just shoot them differently.
Gotcha. Now it's Breaky McBreakerson time. Thank you very much for that. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we have more blind photo critiques with Lindsay Adler, author of the brand new book, Creative 52. Awesome book. See you guys in just a minute. Don't go away. We'll be giving that book away later here on the show. Stick around.
We think.
Hey guys, I'm Eric Vallon. I'm a portrait and lifestyle photographer, and in this class we're going to go indoors with that lifestyle photography. We're going to start out in a really dark location. We're going to go ahead and accent it with some really warm tungsten lights that exist there already. Then we're going to go into a location like this where I've got a mix of light that we're going to have to deal with. I've got fluorescent lights overhead, I've got tungsten light bulbs over there which are really warm, and I've got really cool blue light coming in through that window. I'll teach you how to pick and choose your battles and get the best shot under each situation. So I hope you'll go ahead and check out this class. It's exclusively on kelbytraining.com, and I hope to see you soon.
Hey, we're back live on the grid. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kluskowski. A man who is, by the way, just unrelated to any of this, is testing for his second-degree black belt tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Now, did that add a bunch of pressure to it now that I just mentioned publicly?
Oh, God.
Second degree.
Yeah, everybody's going to be asking me, hey, did you get it?
If next week we're like, all right, Matt rocked it.
And
But
if we're
next
not,
week there's no mention of it,
Don't say.
don't ask.
you know. All right.
Quiet.
So, hey, we want to give a shout out to Peach Pit Press. They make deals for us every week for our viewers. They give us 40% off on an ebook. And so the book that we're doing is Color. Well, is this an ebook?
Well, it's usually a book and you get the ebook version.
No, it's an ebook. There it is.
Oh, it says
Don't
my
miss this
ebook.
ebook. Yeah, it says ebook. Okay, so it's 40% off. A Photographer's Guide to Directing the Eye, Creating Visual Depth and Conveying Emotions by Jared Foster. You get this for $35.99. Go to peachpit.com/KelbyTV, enter the discount code KelbyTV, and wait a minute. It
It's
says the
cheaper
deal's
on the website.
$26.99. Yeah, okay, it's $26.99 is the deal. So don't go by. It's what we just said. It is $26.99. We're here with Lindsay Adler, who is giving incredibly insightful I tell you what, we've only been halfway through the show. I can't believe how much great stuff you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what is every time you come here, every time you come to the show, I think you open a lot of people's eyes that are, you said something earlier. You're just taking a picture of a girl in a pretty outfit. You know, it's like you're not telling a story, you're not doing it. And this is something I really learned from you the first time you were on, when you talked about planning your storyboards and your themes. And from that point on, I'm like, okay, I gotta have a theme. It really changed the way I thought about things. So good on
Great.
you.
Awesome.
Let's take a look at a few more. So while we have Lindsay here, we want to make the most of it.
Okay.
So this is our next, I'll let you see all 5 images here. They're a little small. I'm going to open them in Photoshop if we talk about them so you can see. This looks like a good model. Looks like maybe this.
Yeah, same one right there.
Yeah, that's a good model. All right, here we go.
So looking at these, all of them but this first one, to me, look like somebody that's a professional fashion photographer. I definitely get that feel. So one of the things I want everyone to know is that what works in the professional fashion photography realm might not be following the rules of what we learn in portrait photography. Like a lot of times we do really bland poses, but that might be because you're trying to emphasize the clothing. It's not about the pose, it's not about the person, it's selling the clothes. And so looking at several of these images, I do look at the clothes and I do look at mood. So that is often a successful selling image to me. So I like that in this one, for example, you've got the lens flare. The model isn't incredibly strong, but I don't even notice. Like I didn't notice that until right now. She's fine, but I am looking at the clothes and I get a feeling of atmosphere there. So that works for me for sure.
All righty.
Same thing there. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That pose would not be a portrait pose. You don't do that for a portrait subject ever. Flat-footed, like arms at the side, but she's a size 2, and it's supposed to be kind of a look at this clothes. I'm commanding my space.
I'm a size 2, and I don't ever do that pose, so I agree.
Oh,
Right.
you do that pose all the time.
No, I do not.
Strong model, good atmosphere.
You do that pose a lot. Too.
The only reason the background does work for me is because of the color. I personally would like something that expresses more about the fact that she's kind of wearing a more sophisticated dress. But then I see that she's barefoot, so I'm like, okay, maybe the casual does work together. So
Wow.
Gorgeous model. She's beautiful. This would probably be my favorite one. It looks most like couture, selling something high-end to me. I like the hint of the keys over there because it gives a sense of atmosphere, but it's not too much for me. I agree, definitely.
Chunky leg.
You could liquefy that a little bit. Honestly, if it's for your own work, you could just crop it. But if you're trying to show that those are shorts, like that's
Right,
the
you have
point,
to leave
then
it.
you have to liquefy it a little bit.
All right, good, very good, excellent. Good photographer, though.
Yeah, definitely.
4 out of 5, right? 4 out of 5 shots look pro city.
Yeah, and that one.
What happened here?
It's too flat, and I don't like
The
the
lighting.
shape. I don't like the lighting and the shape of her legs. There's a lot of kind of merger there, and I'm looking a lot here. Like my eye is kind of drawing me here, and that's probably not where I want to be. So it's just not as strong as the other ones.
All righty, very good. Next, we've got 3 shots here. 1,
Okay.
2, and 3. And we'll start with number 1. I'll make it bigger so people can see it at home.
Well, I actually saw right away something consistent between the 3 of them. I try to pay attention to where my eye goes right away. And my eye in all 3 of these pictures didn't go where I guarantee the photographer wanted me to look. I looked at her arm in that one.
All right.
That's exactly where my eye went. The next one, I looked at her arm and her chest.
I'm not pointing there.
Well,
So we'll point the arm.
The arm and chest. I was going to the lightest part of the photo and the largest.
And that
Okay.
honestly is this area right here
It
instead
is.
of this area up here.
Right. At least I had the green to try to balance it, though. At
Yeah.
least my eyes kind of going
Yeah,
up
the
that
next
way.
photo is pretty.
And then I know where I'm looking, and it's not.
And that's right here is where you're looking, right, Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, there you go. No, a little lower. I mean, I'm not just saying, like, honestly, just put this, I'm not saying her cleavage, I'm actually talking about that light area of skin right above it is where I'm looking, which is what draws me to that area of the photograph.
Yeah.
And you can see that they also have some sensor dust here. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Sensor dust is a killer of many shots. And more sensor dust right there. Boom, got it.
Oh, jeez.
I'm just kidding, of course. Okay, so so what would your advice to this photographer would be? using the light to focus where you should be looking.
Yeah, right now the light and the composition, my eye is going where it doesn't belong. In this picture, it might be her eyes or the fact, like what I see is that the shape of the hood matches the shape of her hair. Like I like kind of that, and all I'm doing is looking at the arm. And then so like there's a lot of things that I'm not looking where I want to be. I don't need the bottom part of her stomach in that picture. I mean, if it's about the glasses, crop up. You know, you can crop closer. And just as a general rule of thumb, when you're cropping somebody, you don't want to crop them at their hips because that usually makes them look wider. It'd be more of a waist crop, typically. Either you do waist or you do mid-thigh, just above the knee, something like that. So that has more impact to me than the other one. And then darkening down her kind of chest, stomach area.
Yeah, well, we can do that. If only there was a You know what I would do is what Matt would do, I think, which is go this way with darking it.
The old graduated filter
The old
trick.
graduated filter trick, Matt. And something more like that, if I can. So I'll show you where we were. Let's go to camera defaults. We're just basically relighting it is what they would do.
Yeah, and then I would and just see how her arm's back here. If you bring her arm forward just a little bit, maybe even like pulling her shoulder forward. I don't know if I can do this sideways, but if she has her arm back here, can you see how I look wider? Because now from the front of my chest to the back of my arm is a larger area. If I tuck that forward and kind of pull my shoulder forward, now I have a little bit more shape and I look narrower. So it's about arm position. This would be wider and this would be narrower.
This one's good. She's good. All right.
Let's keep her.
Let's keep her. All right, here we go. Next, we got right
Pretty
here.
sure the audience just wants to ditch us. And
One. Well, if you notice, what my job here is to just agree with Lindsay. Whatever she says, yes, Lindsay, yes, that's right.
I agree.
Agree. So,
The first one was my favorite one because I think it's a dynamic pose. I really like all the triangles. For me, if you want a dynamic fashion pose, it's all about triangles, and I see tons of triangles
okay,
there.
explain that, if you will.
Sure. So can I use your mouse? So if you look, I see a triangle here.
Okay.
That's dynamic. A triangle
There.
here. A triangle here. A triangle here. So triangles create dynamicism. Dynamicism? That's a
I
word,
like
right?
it. If it's not, it will be.
And
Okay.
up here, I mean, even in the corner.
Yeah, and I mean, if you wanted to go even further, you wouldn't have her hand gripping the chair there. You'd bring the hand back over to her hip
to make a
and create another
triangle.
triangle. So that gives you like really graphic, bold poses. Versus more in portraiture or something where you're going softer, it's about curves. For fashion, when it's aggressive, it's about triangles. So this would be the strongest one for me. I will say, in the fashion world, we stay away from things that look HDR. It's kind of a faux pas a bit.
It's a
It
box
might
box.
be. It definitely is fine in portraits. Like I've seen it pulled off in portraits, but not in. They don't usually do it in fashion. Pose makes it look like she has no leg.
Can I just?
Yeah.
Because I've contributed nothing to this entire discussion so far.
Please do.
It's her foot.
Yeah, it's like.
Her foot's this thing that's like pointing at like, how do you get past the foot?
And this is good for people that are into feet.
Because
That's about it.
because
You don't
because
like feet.
First off, you
But
have
those are fine looking.
you have
feet,
big
if you
blurry
love it.
object. You have big blurry object right in the front of the
Yeah, big
the
blurry
photo.
object's killing me.
And then right next to big blurry object, you bring right
Bigfoot.
into Bigfoot.
Bigfoot. All right. So let's
no triangles.
So we
Again,
already know
zero.
that we have a post-processing problem.
All I would say for that one is if you could get it to be like she has her knee up because you're trying to give movement, but it definitely looks like a posed pose. So even if you could have her kind of like look away from the camera and turn back to you and raise her leg up like so it looks more organic because she's definitely like posing so it looks rigid. It looks like you said raise your arm up, put your hand
Put
on
your
your
foot
hip,
up.
put your foot up versus like kind of trying to capture something to movement. Okay.
Super great.
I'm just looking right here.
Yeah.
And not that it's bad right there, but it's not probably where you want your eye to look, so. That has to do with pose. Whatever's closest to the camera looks largest. She's leaning back against that wall with her thigh up, and so that's what's going to look largest as well. And the
All right.
camera angle's even with that. Some decent triangles there. Looks more like a portrait to me than fashion,
Yeah.
but it's a
Triangle?
fine photo. Yeah,
Triangle?
yeah, those triangles. The arm, if you wanted it to be more dynamic on the her right arm there, you could make
Would
another
you have
triangle.
bend it?
I think I would have put it on
brought
her
it in
knee.
this way, so
but
they would
like
meet.
not all the way on the tip of her knee, but more midway. Yeah, exactly.
What do you think about the watermark?
Too much. I mean, I don't. I include watermarks in my photos, but I make them really subtle. The point for me is that if someone wants to get a hold of me, they can.
Right.
Versus trying to say like, "Hey, don't steal my photo." It's more for me saying, if you like my work and you want to
Yeah,
hire
you're
me,
branding it,
here's
yeah.
how you can get a hold of me.
So what if you were
Are you
to
gonna
take
like
the
puppet whip her arm?
Pop her arm over here. Ooh, this is like an episode of The Walking Dead now. Okay,
Yes.
all right. Okay, very good. Great insights there.
That's
And let's go back to number 6. Here we go. All right, let's look through the images. 1, 2, 3. That's interesting.
I like that one.
I like that one.
That's
4,
so me.
5. All right.
Wait, I recognize that last girl. I really do. I don't know her name, but I recognize her. Okay.
Are you using Bridge?
Yes,
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
he is.
Dude, we have a name for people like that.
I know. I'm
Bridge
not
users.
I'm not happy about it.
This one, looking at up close, I'm not sure if everyone can tell. It looks like the skin's overdone.
Yeah, skin's overdone.
A lot. Because
There's-
the reason I'm noticing this is look how the bridge of her nose blends into the side of her cheek.
Yeah.
There's no separation there.
Yeah.
Although it's overdone, I still think. Let me see. Yeah, there's not too much skin detail. And also fingers like that looks like they got cut off at the knuckles, like at the first knuckle, the way it is.
It's so sad.
You usually don't want to do that. If you're gonna have someone's hand in a fist, you usually put it like underneath their chin, so that part's hidden, or you just do soft fingers like that.
Soft fingers.
Wait, can we see Lindsay's?
Okay.
Can we see? Yeah. Can-
So instead of there you go. Instead of your fist in front like this, it would be kind of fist underneath your chin or to the side. But better would be like a soft hand. Or if she's going for like a innocent look, it would be more like soft hands to the side of the mouth.
So Matt,
versus-
can you demonstrate that same thing?
Oh God.
Innocent. I didn't do it.
Sorry, Lindsay. Okay.
wasn't
Sorry you had to
me.
see that.
So I thought this was pretty cool. I kind of did like the color. I did like the tone. The model choice for me, it's less fashion and more, it's just sexy.
Glamour.
It's sexy glamour. But I think it's cool. I do wish there's a little more control of the hair, more on the shoulder, because I didn't think it was hair at first. I thought it was like a textured shoulder thing. But the mood was dramatic. I like drama. And then this is a Lindsay picture. I love red and white and
This
high
is
key.
great.
So, I wish the chin wasn't merging with her knee. That's
So
like,
maybe her head was looking back more, or?
well, we're giving her a tiny bit more space there. But yeah, you could
Oh,
put
I
her
see. Maybe. Wow.
right,
Good luck.
like right here, something, or the knee out a little, like just right there. It's so close. Just that merger bothers me.
Gotcha.
And then I don't like that I can see her, like, sideburn, whatever you call that.
Yeah. What's the word for that? You would know.
Where?
I don't know, the
Sideburn?
sideburn.
Oh,
hair thing.
Sideburn.
Sideburn. I would Photoshop that out. And
Oh, yeah.
I would make this red match this red. So then it is all about one thing. It is red and it is all the same color red. And I don't know if I would have done pink here. I think this is like pink, purple-ish.
Purpley, yeah.
Make it
Fuchsia.
Red. And so make it all the reds exactly the same tone. But I think it's super cool.
That's a cool shot.
Yeah, it
Let's
is
see
a
if
cool shot.
I want to make a little
My
white
favorite
light
one so
box.
far.
I want to pull down the saturation a little bit, not that much, but I just wanted to get it
Sure.
started.
You do really got to get rid of the sideburns, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't get there just by lowering the saturation on her hair.
And usually with hands, you don't want right angles.
You
it's
don't
just-
want like that.
Yeah, like bent. That's like
Painful.
bent
Unnatural.
the other way. But she is in a box. It's supposed to look uncomfortable.
She's smoking ice.
The hair doesn't add anything to me, and in fact distracts me.
And this one, you recognize the model.
I do.
Lighting's a little suspect.
I think it's more just a glamour picture if you're trying to show what the latex dress looks like. It's more in the portrait realm, that green. It complements the red in a Christmas way, which doesn't necessarily feel high fashion.
All right, so there's really one shot here that is really fashiony. This one.
Yeah, but of course I'm telling you that obviously that's going to appeal to me because it's my thing. And that's more, it's high fashion, it's cool.
Can I tell you something? Lindsay, you wouldn't know this because you haven't spent enough time with Brad, but God knows I have. I've been on the road with Brad has got some of the corniest jokes. So this one just says, time for a break dance.
Dance.
Really small.
That is typical. I hear stuff like this, like when we were on a flight together, I hear 100 of those. There it is, time for a break dance. They brought it up.
If I recall, he had these same kind of things last time he was here, which
Yeah.
was forever ago.
I know.
How do you keep coming up with new ones?
He's good.
He's good.
That's his art.
He's a miracle of art. Hey, we have a few more images to look at. Not a whole bunch more, just a few more. But we're really enjoying our time here with Lindsay Adler. Stick around. We'll be back in just a few short seconds, so don't go away.
Here, Lindsay. How's this?
Hello, I'm Bill Fortney, and welcome to Olympic National Park. Olympic National Park is made up of a number of different landforms, all the way from a beautiful seacoast to high mountains, glacial snow, the wonderful whole rainforest and the rest of these old growth forests, and it all leads to great nature photography. And we're here to learn landscape photography and the techniques of landscape photography, but we're going to do a lot more than just landscape. We're going to do close-ups, we're going to do water photography, we're going to do high altitude sunrise and sunset work. We have a lot to do. So please come check out my class in Olympic National Park only on kelbytraining.com.
Hi. Guess what? We're back. We're back. Matt Klaskowski, Lindsay Adler, me, Scott, Brad over at the DJ console, spinning the labels on the turntables. Back-to-back music with Brad Moore, DJ Brad Moore from America. Hey, Greg Urbano asked a question. Lindsay, he says, from a creativity standpoint, would your book help landscape or other non-fashion photographers?
It is definitely geared towards non-fashion photographers as well. If you do portraits and maternity sessions and weddings and fashion, but it would not be for landscape. You could technically take like the first intro chapter, like if you want to sneak into a Barnes & Noble and just read the first chapter, it helps with creativity in general, but the rest of the book, the assignments are definitely geared towards people photographers.
There you go. All right. So, Lindsay, let's look at another image or so.
Okay.
Here's, we'll go through these real quickly. There's one. Mm-hmm. There's 2, 3, 4, 5. Overall thoughts?
Looking at them, I do think that a longer lens is needed for a bunch of these. Like I think this one's a little bit too wide because her head looked a little bit small. I don't want to see so much whites of her eyes, so maybe a little bit too much for me. That pose is fine, you know, if it's going for cutesy. That one's fine for me. The hands are a little bit too bunched and claw-like. I just have somebody like kind of, I mean, basically pet their shoulder, pet the shirt, so that they get those kind of natural elongated fingers.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah, so I do something
Matt,
like that.
Can you show that? Like what Lindsay was showing? Well, you didn't see Lindsay.
Okay.
First, Lindsay, take a look at Lindsay doing this.
She's
Don't
doing
do it yet.
something like this, and I would just have someone do something where it's softer.
Like petting.
Petting. You're basically petting.
Petting your
All right, so am I
hair.
doing it
Versus
right? So, petting.
Pretty kitty,
Basically.
soft kitty.
But that's what I tell for people when they put their hands in their hair. You don't want, when I say put your hand in your hair, people do this. Which elbow at the camera, it's armpit, it's grippy fingers. Instead, I say something like, can you trace your finger along your hairline? Just real soft, just like that. And then you get kind of soft hand and hair versus
Trace,
grippy.
too.
Trace.
Are you
like
getting
that?
this, John? Where's John? John, are you getting this? Are you listening? All right, we got John Balboni here. Our buddy's here watching the show. So, John, soft hair, pretty hair. There you go. Okay.
That was good. That was well done.
All right. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Do you consider this fashion photography? What would you consider what they're going for?
Okay, so it's more of lookbook photography, which means independent designers, every single season, they need to have someone photograph their clothes. This is not high fashion couture, but you can definitely make money from this. Let's say that somebody does knitwear. They do knitted clothing. That's what they've created.
Yeah.
They hire photographers to shoot stuff like this all the time. So it definitely could be fashion.
Yeah, they
but
have a
it's
knit thing on every one, don't they?
They do. So I'm guessing, honestly, that's kind of what it is. And then this is appealing to the masses versus to the highest end, which appealing to the masses makes you money. So I'm fine with that.
Okay. And lighting wise,
Overall, good though. I mean, like
Yeah.
your like for this one, your critiques were very, very like specified at small things, not like
Definitely.
concept isn't there,
Right.
model, you know.
Yeah,
like-
and I can tell that the concept really is just knitwear, and she looks comfortable in it and looks cool and comfortable.
All right, well, let's take a look at these real quick because we don't have a whole lot of time. Well, basically, we don't have much time at all. Overall thoughts?
I definitely get more portrait in general, but
Yeah.
they're well done portrait. And so the class that I taught for you guys called Fashion Flair for Portrait and Wedding Photography, what it was about was taking elements of fashion photography and adding it to your portrait work. And that's kind of what I get the feel from here. You've got a little bit of that fashion feel for sure. I mean, I definitely get that, but it's still more in the portrait realm because there isn't as much drama. It isn't about the clothes as much. You are looking at the girl.
Where'd her fingers go in that last one?
Well, that's what
fingers
I
are
said
chopped
before.
off.
Fingers chopped off. So do soft, like tracing on your neck. Like tracing on your neck here, soft. Making sure you see the pinky side versus like here. And that's why I don't usually have people grab onto their collars. Like that's a common thing that people will do for poses. You don't want them to grab on.
Everybody know.
You don't want them to grab on their collar. If they're going to do it, you just have them hold kind of softly versus with a fist.
This is, we're laughing about it, but these are, no, this is great. These are very specific
Oh, yeah,
tips.
this
you
is-
can imagine, because a lot of people have a really hard time working with models. If they're not professionals, they don't know exactly what they're doing. In fact, in Canada, I had a guy come up on my break, and he's like, look, I'm really shy. I don't know how to direct a model at all. I mean, he was really, really
Lindsay.
concerned about it.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But you're giving some very specific
Yeah.
things about the hand motion, about the softness. I mean, we're making a joke with that.
No, I
here and
mean,
all,
like
but this is great stuff.
people wrote this stuff down.
This
you
is very
you kind of
specific.
have like this is your map for your next shoot to just write all this stuff down.
Yeah.
But I got your next book idea.
What's that?
You just do a book on like all the different like hands, arms, like you can almost like separate it out like that.
You could show it side by side.
What's really interesting is I was looking online to see how people have taught posing. So I just filmed something for you guys, and I don't know if I could say what it was, but I just
You
filmed
can say
something.
what it was.
Okay, so
Promote the living
Yeah.
daylights out of
Okay.
it,
Mention
please.
it.
so I filmed yesterday, and the idea is
For who? Kelby Training?
for Kelby Training.
Okay.
KelbyTrain.com?
.com, in fact.
Great.
And the idea behind the whole shoot is how to manage difficult features, how to flatter anybody. So, I mean, the subject matter that I covered was if someone has a double chin, if someone has a more pronounced nose, if they have a larger forehead, because honestly, most of my paid work
Crap, I
isn't
have all of
just no. My paid work isn't just
I got you on the
all
nose.
models. It's portraits. It's athletes. It's people that want to look like models, even though they are the average person. So the reason I'm saying this is I was looking online to see if anyone had taught anything like that. Just to kind of see how it had been presented. And I saw so many posing guides where the poses were not good. And I think one of the biggest problems people have is they don't know. It's not they don't know what good poses are. They don't know what the bad things are. They don't know the things to watch out for, like the crumpled fingers,
Right, if you
or
don't
the
know.
elbow at camera. I saw tons of posing guides that were like this. They had both the elbows at the camera. So look, I have no
Double
arms,
armpits.
guys. No arms. And so I think there's a lot of kind of misinformation out there about what makes a truly good pose.
Wow.
Yeah, it's almost be neat, like what not to do.
Yeah. Well, what I want to do is like a film strip, where you see all these and circle the good ones and say why, and X the bad and say why.
You know what I don't like about so many posing guides out there is they have to every posing guide is 762 poses.
Right.
It's like I don't want 762 poses. Give me 10 that work.
Yeah, you need 10. 10 is fine, actually,
Yeah.
but I mean, I have 10 go-to poses that I use over and over again, and then I tweak it based on the mood. So I have roughly what I want. If it's meant to be more aggressive, it's more aggressive. If it's meant to be softer, I soften it up. But the overall pose is pretty much the same.
Wow, great. All right, so overall, if you had to give this person some advice to move further down the road.
I did see, the hands were a little awkward in some of the photos, and I'd say the styling doesn't necessarily fit the environment if you're going for fashion. So, why is she wearing that outfit? And this is a spaghetti strap. Lose the spaghetti strap. Either have a bare shoulder. Like, spaghetti strap has never been high fashion, so just go for a portrait. Get rid of that. And that's a cute portrait.
All right.
Fine.
Well, gosh, we're just about out of time, but we're going to look at a couple more because...
We got a couple questions, too.
Oh, yeah, let's take... Dave Nunez says, make a book, take my money. You have a book. You have a couple of books now.
Make that book.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I can do that.
Oh, make a posing book. Yeah,
If you don't write it, I will.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
I claim it. Hey, we were talking about that.
Alexandra asks, question for Lindsay. If you were to photograph kids for fashion, what poses would you use? What type of clothing would get my Dee Dee noticed? My Dee Dee? His Dee Dee must be...
Daughter.
Maybe their daughter's named Dee Dee.
Yes.
Noticed by a modeling agency.
She's really pretty.
She is really pretty. But what kind of shots would you do? White
Darling
background,
daughter?
black, outside, beach? Thanks. You.
Absolutely. For kids, I keep the poses really, really candid and really subtle. They don't need to see like, oh, I can pose with my hand on my hip. What they want to see is you can interact with the camera and emote, because it's that emotion, especially for kids. They want to see happiness. They want to see if they can be more, more thoughtful, because those are the things they're going to try to sell, either happiness or something more serious. So make sure it's more about emotion. And definitely show that they know how to interact with the camera. Window light, soft window light. You don't need to photograph kids with dramatic or complex studio light. That's not what agencies are looking for. Agencies actually, all they want is something where you can tell that the subject knows how to interact with the camera with window light on a plain background in black and white. Like, that's a lot of times what agencies want, because you really see what that person really does when they're interacting with the camera. It's about what they look like instead of the light and the styling. That's how you push a model.
Awesome. All right. So let's, we'll go through this one.
Porcelain skin.
You know what? Can I make a comment? Not necessarily about this one, but a lot of these is like, if you go back to this one, can I go back to one here a moment ago?
Absolutely.
Not this one. We haven't looked at that one.
We looked at 9 and 10.
This person knows who they are as a photographer. They're shooting a look, and even though it's different models, you can tell this is all taken by the same photographer. A lot of times we're looking at people today, and this could be taken, is this one we were on?
Yeah.
By 5 different photographers. This doesn't, if I hired you, I wouldn't know what I was going to get.
Right. And that's why they say style is so important. It's less because you don't need to prove you only shoot one thing, but they need to know what they're getting from you if they do shell out their money.
Right.
They
Like,
have
if I
that
hired you, am I
expectation.
getting this 1940s look? Am I getting this or
got
this?
So,
Yeah.
or
can I
this?
throw a question at you? Which
Yeah.
is, like, I'm gonna guess that the photographer we saw before had a job. Like,
Yes.
like that was like they knew what kind of photographer they were, because that's the job that made them money. And maybe they already have a career in this, where I'm gonna guess this photographer
Building their
might
book.
not have a job, and they're building. So do you still continue to shoot all those types of things? I mean, like, what do you do? Like, it's so broad. Like,
Yeah. What I try to do, and this is what I did personally for my own portfolio, is I looked at the photos in my own book that I would die if someone cut out, the ones that like define who I am, and try to figure out why those are me, like why they define me so much,
and then make more of them.
and then make more of those. But then the same thing too, looking at other photographers that I admire. Why do I admire them? What am I drawn to? Incorporate that into my work where it fits. I shoot a ton of stuff, but I try to keep those similarities, the things that I'm really drawn to, I try to infuse that more and more in my work. And there's a lot more to it than that, really, but that's a good starting point for sure.
You almost have to go to like what interests you, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, that's going to be what holds your interest in it and what you're going to
Right.
be most passionate about.
Yeah, what draws you. And it's clear for me, often looking at people's work, what stuff they weren't into versus what stuff they live for.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times you can really tell that. And trust me, I still experiment with totally different types of photography, and either it goes in separate portfolios or I shoot it for fun. It might be a Facebook thing, but not necessarily my portfolio, because I don't
Right.
want to confuse
Yeah.
the vision. But it's fine on Facebook and a blog or something.
So what would we say to this photographer? So this is, I just blew up this one because this was kind of, their image was small, but There's one, and then this one. Because they're kind of all over the place. But what would you say overall? If you had to say, here's what I would do if I were you.
It's interesting because it's so diverse.
Over retouched.
Yeah, there is definitely some over retouching there.
Right
Can you bring them all back up one more time?
Graduated filter.
Because I want to see a general. All right, we'd bring the whole view, like of all the 5 photos.
Well, I can't. Well, I guess I could. Well, I don't know if I can bring all 5 up.
Oh, maybe you can't.
It can, but it's. Yeah, you have to go out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'll see if it'll open them all on the bridge at once. There we go. We're still going to have to scroll through them, but yeah.
All right. Well, I think that in some of the photos, I don't know exactly where to look. For example, the one where she's looking in the reflection. Obviously, I'm looking at her face in the reflection, but I'm looking at her hand, and then I'm looking at all of that texture around her.
Around here.
That doesn't make sense. Why? I mean, what is that texture there? In the boudoir picture, I'm looking at her face, but the curve isn't really complementing. The one that I think is strongest is that last one, even though I'm looking at her armpit, because if this girl is a singer or an actress or whatever, if the armpit is retouched, that's like 3-point lighting. That's it's a nice highlight on her jaw. This is very sellable. The other ones, I don't exactly know what it's selling. That one, I guess it could be the headpiece, but the reflection is maybe the headpiece. This one is supposed to be boudoir for her, but I don't really see the curve as much, the way that it's cropped, so it needs to be a different angle. That one, I would pick a more flowing dress. So I guess I would say really pick, okay, what is the goal of this photo? What is it selling? And how am I going to light and pose to emphasize that? So definitely boudoir. If it's about her body, pose for her body. If it's about that headpiece, make sure that's what you're looking at. So that's why I think the last one was so successful, because I'm looking at the girl.
All right, just one more second here. I'm going to turn off my notifications so they stop popping in.
I noticed, and I noticed just an observation, is so little of what you mentioned today was lighting. It's like, I mean, so much.
Everyone's
so
focused
much
on the lighting.
Everyone. I mean, I bet you so many of these people have 8 lighting books
Right.
sitting there, and it's all the other stuff
If
that
you-
really were
yeah.
the aha moments.
If
Like
you
that
look-
last photographer is pretty good. I mean, they weren't bad at it.
No,
So.
they know their lighting for sure. But it's definitely, a photographer can create a good image, like technically, but it's not great until there's an idea, until it really says something. And so I see that a lot.
All right, let's take a look at this.
See?
Hey,
Nice.
Tie it back.
Yeah, we're gonna look at something, but we want to get the giveaways going here because we're gonna have to wrap this up here. We're gonna look at maybe one or two more, and then that's all we're gonna have time for. But we have some giveaways. So here's what we'd like you to do. First, how do you enter the giveaways? Go to kelbytv.com/contest, and then you will select the show you're watching. Why, today you're watching The Grid. You'll put in your name, your email address, your website, and leave us a comment that says something like which of the prizes that you would like to win. So we have Creative 52, Lindsay's book. Now, if you don't win Lindsay's book, where can you get this? Amazon?
Yep, absolutely.
Barnes & Noble?
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Peach Pit as well.
Peach Pit and Peach Pit Press,
Yep.
our very favorite publishers in the whole wide world.
If you want a signed one, you can also go to my store and I can personalize it to you.
Oh, there you go. Also, we've got Frank Doerhoff's book, which will not be personalized because he lives in Holland. But we have Frank's Mastering the Model Shoot, which is a terrific, terrific book. And then we've got my Volume 2 of the digital photography book, which was just recently refreshed. And we've got the critique book, Inside the Minds of 23 Leaders in Design. They all kind of looked at the same project and gave their thoughts and views of one.
Cool.
It's a fascinating book. All right, so just go there, and we hope that you enter the contest. We hope that you win. And let's take a look at this. All right, we're going to do a few more. We're going to get 90 seconds each.
Okay, I'm ready.
Here we go. 1,
90 seconds each.
90 seconds per person. 3, 4, 5. Overall thoughts?
In most of them, my eye again wasn't going where it should be. Like if you go to the very first photograph
common
in this
theme,
series, I'm definitely looking at the texture on her arms, and I'm supposed to be looking at emotion. So I would either wear a solid color or like black or nothing at all there.
Okay.
Here, because of all the texture around her, and they've kind of pumped up the HDR, I definitely am drawn to the rocks. If you wanted to make her stand out more the hands, if it goes softer, it's kind of the no finger look again, and the thumbs stick right out.
Yep.
Like the thumbs, that's what I'm looking at, the thumbs there. This photo, it's cute.
I like that one.
I
It's
like
kinda
that
cute.
one. That works out for me, definitely.
Not fashion. It's just kind of.
Yeah, it could be though if it's selling like an Anthropologie top, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's more of a portrait to me. It's still a
With
little
a
bit
snake.
in that HDR realm, but it's fun. Like if that was a portrait shoot and the girl likes snakes.
You know what I like?
okay.
I don't like her pose really, but I like the post processing on this one. For it's not fashiony, but I mean,
portrait.
there's a kind of a for a portrait, it's kind of a interesting post
I have
Texture in
processing.
her
nightmares
hair.
tonight.
All right, hey, we got to do that in
Snakes.
90 seconds. That was pretty good. Here we go. There's 3. This should be easy. Un, deux, trois.
More portrait, and the poses are static or too rehearsed.
So the staticky looking poses.
I would have her move if it's about she's wearing a cute little flowing dress. Have her move around. Also, the straight processing there doesn't say fashion to me. It's portrait when it's
Yeah.
the straight processing.
Yeah.
That one.
Oh, that's interesting. Straight processing.
Now, do you do a lot of like when you do your processing?
Yes.
Do you do a lot of color toning? Are you doing
Yeah.
like split toning, or like you said, color lookup tables, or?
Most of the time what I'm doing is if it's a straight color and I don't want to add like split tone, what I do is I desaturate the photo or pull out vibrance, pick one of the two, and add in contrast. Because when you pull out color, a picture looks flatter. That's just how that saturation contrast works together. So I pull out a little color, add contrast, and it makes it look more fashion. Like it just does, like desaturating a photo. And then adding blues to the shadows often makes something look a little bit more high fashion as well.
Adding blues to the shadows.
And
Excellent.
check out selective color as an adjustment layer as well. That's good for that fashion look.
Here's a quickie one, 90 seconds. Ka-chow. I know where that was taken. Right? Am I right? Was that a
Is
Photoshop
that the
world?
Photoshop World one?
These all have a little HDR-ish, like a tonal contrast kind of thing.
The colors clothing choice, and I know that some of these were pre-set up for you, controls my eye. Like this one, I'm looking at her hand. The hand shouldn't be there, or it should be saying something. Here, I'm looking at that pink top. Change the color, make it match her hair, or something like that.
Is that a very common thing? Like matching the hair color to clothing or something?
Yeah, I mean, just make the colors look on purpose, whatever it is. Here, the color's fine, but I'm definitely drawn to that red line.
Armpit.
And
Ka-chow.
yeah, I'm not, I
Well, you
like
don't really
armpits.
see the full armpit, but
It's okay. I don't love armpits, but yeah, that, if you wanted to make it match, make the green match that yellow to look on purpose. Otherwise, I look a whole lot at that pattern on her chest over and over and over again. And in portrait.
okay. All righty, and this is the last one, but we're gonna go back and get one we missed. So let's take a look here. Here's one. I'll make. Oh well, I can make them all
I can
bigger.
just talk through it as we go through.
Yeah.
That's fine too. Pose doesn't flatter for two things. Also, like the negative space, give me triangles with her arms. Do something, and then
the
bring her.
space, yeah.
You could do both ways. You could put her hand on her legs. There's a triangle here, and then either hand up or
Oh,
something.
can we see Lindsay
Ooh.
as she's talking about these, because she's
Okay.
gesticulating.
I'm doing my little modeling thing.
There we
I
go.
was saying the arm on the left, and say the arm on the left you could put like on her thigh. There's just a little bit of shape. The other arm you could put up to her neck, raise it up to fill negative space. But right now it's straight up and down. She's skinny already. Usually with women, you're looking to emphasize curve. She can definitely have curve. She has assets to allow you to add curve. That pose doesn't do it for her.
So
Especially
how would you have, besides the triangles, would you have her bend her body to add more of a curve?
Definitely bend her body, leaning a little bit, and because she's actually leaning back, this girl's probably like extremely skinny, and I even see a little bit of pouch right there, which she's probably a size 0.
Yeah.
And because of how her body is, give it some curve. She definitely has shape up top, so give her a little bit more shape in her hips.
That bugs me because I'm a size 2. Okay, here we go.
Not fashion, because I know where I look, and that's not usually fashion. And the arm crop, usually I say if you're gonna crop, except for this one.
Yeah, this
one's particularly.
It's hurting.
Yeah, like bring the arm back to her head. Reintroduce it. Give yourself a triangle.
Okay.
Yeah, notice like that hand. At least you've got a little bit of triangle there. Armpit, freaking me out. Right, this detail.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
Retouch that.
Retouch.
And yeah, her thigh down there is definitely distracting me. I think she's kind of leaning forward. Try to elongate her just a little bit more. Elongating works. And that's more portrait.
Yeah. All right, we missed one, I think, and that was, I think, one up here. This one. Now, I saw this one earlier. Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
If you move this person and this person back real quick, it's the same person.
Really?
No, I know, not really. I'm just making a joke. Here we go. All right, so we'll just look through these. We only have 90 seconds because we're going to sign off.
Okay, that's a commercial portrait, not fashion. It's funny. Headshot.
Headshot.
And over retouched, and my eye goes to her shirt. I would probably just do a tube top. I mean, she's got a pretty face, so do a tube top and then just crop above the top of it and just make something beauty that way.
All right. So, okay, thank you for doing that. Don't go to my camera yet because I want to be able to go and show some of your stuff.
Oh, if it loads.
If it loads, don't say
Lindsay,
that. Uh-oh.
It's Lindsay with an Lindsay.
D-S.
No.
No, I'm spelling it wrong.
L-A-N-D.
Boy, I'm having a hard time.
S-A-Y.
Sorry, I've only spelled it in middle.
A-D-L-E-R.
God.
And then photography.
This is
Photography.
terrible. I couldn't have done a worse job on that.
That's okay. It's cool.
You should
I
see me
forgive
spelling on my tour. Yeah, I couldn't even spell Toronto. I had to actually switch to the word Canada. All right, so here's where where's
Fashion, beauty would be those are kind of two.
All right, so let's take a look through here.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I love this. I love this one right here. I've seen this one. It's one of your, I think, probably your trademark images.
Definitely.
It's terrific.
Thank you.
Hey, all the colors go together. What's wrong with this?
Yeah, so when I include color, it's on purpose. If there's no color, I make it high contrast black and white. But notice, that's not necessarily true to the style. And so I'm actually redoing my portfolio, and I'll have two separate books. So something will be more dreamy, and something will be more graphic.
Look at that.
That was in Istanbul.
I love the way you let the sky go to white.
Yeah, why not? And so that's what I'm talking about for black and white,
that's
making it really clean and graphic. And so ideally in all the photos, when you look at it, you know what the point of the photo was. This is about, the graphic element. This is about the mood.
All right,
feeling
Metropolitan Building in
Yes,
New York.
I saw that you shot there, but
Yeah.
we talked about that. We did
Yeah.
talk about that last time. Yes, oh my gosh, awesome.
These are great.
Thank you.
Look at that. That's a cool shot.
What,
I love your black and white stuff. Looks just awesome.
Thank you. And something that I just want to let everyone know
I like
too.
that.
Like that one photo that you just said you liked a second ago too. Model Mayhem model. It's not. There's a lot of things available to you they don't realize. One
love
picture
this.
before, she's wearing a red dress. It looks like it has a long train. I bought red tulle and put the red tulle behind her. The very first one where you said you like the sky looking white,
Oh yeah.
that was just red tulle put behind her.
What is red tulle?
It's red fabric. Usually it's used in dresses to be all poofy, like when
Yeah.
they have the poofy
Can't
dresses.
believe you didn't know
but
that.
the dress is actually just kind of scoops down to the bottom. This is just tulle. This is just fabric that I'm like, oh look, it looks like a train. Same thing on
It
her head.
does.
It's not a veil. I just cut a piece of fabric and had it attached to her head. And that fabric is like less than $1 a yard. So you
Wow.
can fake high fashion. I mean, this actually is a couture piece, but you can fake it by just having like extra fabric. I'll do that all the time.
Very good. You're so insightful on this stuff. So, Lindsay, I wanted to ask you about this shot. I love this look right here. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit lens flary.
Yep.
I love the styling, and I love the way you composed them and all. Wig?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
So, where do you get a wig like this at JCPenney?
Actually, Beauty on 35, which is right around the corner from B&H.
Really, Beauty on 35.
Yeah, there's a ton of places to get wigs. If you're not doing a close-up beauty shot, it can be a fake wig. It can be a cheap wig. It's when you're doing beauty that you more have to worry about it. But if it's far away, I mean, a $10, $15 wig is fine.
Is it really a $10 or $15 wig?
Yeah, definitely.
No, really? That's
But I had a hairstylist who cut it so that
Straight
it was
across.
nice.
Away.
Yeah, it's
Right.
very nicely. Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
okay.
And the lens flare was done in camera. I held a Christmas ornament in front of the lens, a multicolored Christmas ornament.
That's cool.
And
That's cool. Your Photoshop skills are very good.
Thank you. I try very hard.
Look at that.
Photoshop. And it was a real environment, but
Very interesting. You know what's nice about all this is, and this is something I think we miss a lot of, is these all look like you. You could go, oh, that's a Lindsay Adler shot. Like when I see this, I go, oh, that's a Lindsay Adler.
Good.
Well, but that's good though. I mean, that's a lot of people struggle with that. Okay, a couple of things. First off, thank you. You were absolutely wonderful as always. I know I gush when you're on the show here, but you know what it is? Can I tell you why I gush?
Why is that?
Because you're talking about things in a way that I don't hear anybody else talking about it. That really turns me on. When I hear you talking about very specific things and not just talking in big, grandiose things, but you're going, this is how I do my hands. This is what I'm thinking.
Yep.
This is why this shot doesn't work. It's very pragmatic. And I think I think that there's not a lot of that out there where someone will go, this is how we do it. This is why this is fashion. This is why this isn't fashion. I don't hear a lot of that. So when I hear these things, and when we do our own show, and I learn a lot, like I did last time, and I did again today, that sends me through the roof. And this is why we have you at Kelby Training, because you are terrific, and people loved your classes. If you were a Kelby Training subscriber, seriously, I don't even care if you think you're never going to do fashion. Go watch your classes, because you're going to learn a lot just about shooting people. And also, it might make you want to shoot fashion, but go watch your classes. And if you're not on Kelby Training, you can rent them. Just go around. What is it, $7 to rent the classes? Like nothing. Go watch one class, and you'll see why she's such a star.
I want to see the new class, photographing.
Oh, I want to see that.
Photographing everyday people. That's what
I
we
think
called
we
it,
said.
right?
I think it was photographing everyday people, how to flatter every face and body type, or something to that effect.
That class
We're
is
working
going
on
to be
the title.
That class is going to be big. All right. So, Lindsay, where can they go to learn more about you? Obviously, your site, Lindsay Adler. Let's spell it correctly: LINDSAY ADLER.
Photography.com.
Photography.com. They can.
Yep.
Where are you? Are you on Twitter?
Yep, Twitter, at Lindsay Adler, and then Facebook. I'm pretty active on my Facebook page, which is just facebook.com/Lindsay Adler Photography.
There you go. So thank you again. A couple quick things. Today on my blog, guest blog is from Alan Hess. We love. I just had dinner with Alan when I was in San Diego doing my thing. Alan is one of the nicest guys. You know Alan.
Yeah.
He's one of the nicest guys, but he's an incredibly talented concert photographer. And I think that Alan shares with you in that he's a very sharing guy. He's one of those people that tells you, look, here's what I do and here's how I do it. I think it is easier for us to understand concerts than it is to understand fashion, because we're so familiar with I think that there is like almost an education in actually teaching people what fashion is.
Sure.
I don't think Alan has that struggle, but
I had to learn that myself.
yeah, it is. It's and you're wonderful at explaining these things. Go over to my blog, scottkelby.com. Read Alan's thing today. He's wonderful. He shares like just great stuff. Of course, he has amazing images. He shoots all these big stars and stuff. So that's cool. Number 2 is I'm going to go have you look at something else. Let me pull it up here. And this is going to sound stupid because this is so far away from what we're doing. Go to when you're at my blog, scottkelby.com, click on sports. And I have a portfolio that I'm working on. It's new. This is my football stuff, which you may have seen. But my game day detail. So I've done a whole portfolio of things that are not action. There are things surrounding the game. And I updated it again this week. I've updated it every week because I've been shooting a lot of games recently. And so I want to see if anybody sees I added 2 new ones. One I shared on this week. I think I can show you where it's at. Is it number 5? Yeah, I shot this week. This is
cool.
This is the pregame right before he comes out.
That's
and then my buddy Rob Foldy took a picture of me shooting this shot, and I shared that on Facebook. But there's another new one in here I put in here, and it's anyway. But if you get a chance, go check it out. It's not fashion at all, but it's 24 images of things surrounding the game. So something I'm working on, and I hope to keep. There's only 3 games left in the season, maybe 4. Maybe if you pick up a bowl game, but it's not.
That's really
you can
cool.
shoot fashion all year. You get to shoot football. It's long. But anyway, I'm really enjoying it. Thanks to everybody for watching. Lindsay, you were great as always. Crew, thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
John Balboni and his buddy Mike are here watching. Thanks. It's always exciting to have a studio audience, especially when they're just out of camera and you have to lean forward to see them. And Matt, where are you next? You have a seminar Friday, don't you?
Yes, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville.
So if
Friday.
you're anywhere near Jacksonville, come and see Matt. Lightroom tour, right? Last one of the year?
Last one of the year.
And I don't have a tour till February. Where can we see you next? Do you live anywhere? Workshops?
I'm going to be at Imaging USA.
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, well, I will see you there.
Phoenix?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I've got Phoenix and then WPPI, and I'm going to be in Dubai this year, in Sweden. So I've got a
Wow,
lot of good
you're
things
all
this
over the
year.
place.
Yeah.
I was
great stuff.
you were just coming from, I think, Italy or
yeah.
something, and I ran into.
We were in a random airport, and I was like,
Oh, that was Nashville.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, Scott.
Yeah, no, it's weird when you
Passing
see
in the
someone out of
airport.
context and like, Lindsay? We're both looking at each other like,
Is that
what are you doing here?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks very much for watching The Grid. We'll see you guys next week. We're doing a show next week, right?
Sure. Yeah, last one of the year.
Okay, all right. Last one of the year. Now, I'm thinking next week is it getting too close to the holidays. See you guys here next week on The Grid. Take care, everybody. Bye. Ooh, there he goes.